We're going to be looking in this tutorial at complementary angles, and for number one we're just going to calculate the size of the missing angle, and for number two we'll be looking to identify angles which are complementary. So how do we know a complementary angle or complementary angles when we see them? Well, for a start off, one of the key elements of complementary angles is that there are only two of them, and that when you add them together they make a sum of 90 degrees. Okay, so that's the basics. Let's take a look and apply that information to question number one. It says calculate the size of the missing angle. We have an angle here which is 77 degrees, and we have an unknown angle which is labeled x. So I'm going to show you how to work out the size of angle x. So what we can do is we can take what we know and put it into a little equation. So we've got 77. We add whatever angle x is, we don't know what it is, so we'll just put x, and we know from our rules that it has to equal 90. And from there, let me just write that a bit clearer, but from there we should be able to work out the size of angle x. So let's do that. What we have to do first is to get rid of this positive 77, so we do the inverse, we subtract 77. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other side, and we do that to keep the whole equation balanced all the way through. So 77 minus 77 is 0, which leaves us with x on the left-hand side of the equation. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we have 90 minus 77, which leaves us with 13. So now we know that angle x is 13 degrees. So that's how you do those kinds of problems. Let's have a look at the question number 2. It says name two complementary angles. And we've got angle A here, angle B, angle C, and angle D. And two of them can be added together to make 90 degrees. So if I look here, I'll just use my common sense really. Angle C is definitely out. Number one, because all the other angles end in 0, and this one ends in a 5, so it definitely can't make 90. It can't end in a 0 if I use this. So that's out. Plus, it is already way more than 90 degrees. So that for sure is out. That leaves us with these three, angles A, B, and D. If I look here, A and B, 30 plus 70 is 100, so that definitely can't work. 70 and 60 is 130, so that's too big. So 70 really is out of it, which leaves us really with 60 and 30. So yes, angles A plus B, or plus D, sorry, equal 90. And 90 degrees is it, so angle A and angle D are the complementary angles. Now, it is possible that you would also be given a question that looks like this. And you can see that there are lots of angles here, and they look like they are centered around a point. Although, if you look very carefully, you can see this line right here is a straight line, and that might help with answering the question as well. It always pays to look very carefully at the problem. So we have to find two complementary angles, and you can see here that there are 6 angles that we would have to investigate. And luckily we have angle A, which is 30, we have angle C, 25, angle D, 80, and angle F, which is 40, but we are not given B and E, and it might pay to just calculate the size of those angles just in case. So you would need to apply some knowledge from other angle work that you may have done previously. So for example, if we want to calculate the size of angle B, we would use this formula, something that looks like this. There are 3 angles along the straight line, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my knowledge of straight line angles, and the straight line angles, they always add up to 180 degrees. So basically what that means is angle A plus angle B plus angle C in this case is going to equal 180. So what I would need to do is substitute what I'm given. And I know angle A, that's 30. I still don't know angle B, that's okay, I'll just put the letter B there. But I am given angle C, and that's 25. And together they're going to make 180. So what I'll do here is I'll just tidy up the second line of working by collecting like terms. So 30 and 25 is 55. So 55 now plus angle B is going to equal 180, and now I can solve. So I need to get rid of this positive 55 here, so I'll do the inverse and subtract 55, and I need to do that to both sides to make sure the whole equation stays balanced. So now 55 minus 55 is 0, so that leaves angle B on this side, and 180 minus 55 is 25. Oh, sorry, 125. And so now I know that for sure angle B is 125 degrees. There's also one more angle that hasn't been given to me, and that's angle E. So again, let's apply the same thing. We see our straight line here, so I can do the same thing. It'll be angle F plus angle E plus angle D is going to equal 180. Great. So I know what F is, that's 40, plus E, that's the mystery, plus D, which is 80. And that's supposed to be 180. Let's tidy it up. 80 plus 40 is 120, plus angle E, which is the unknown, is supposed to equal 180. So I subtract 120 from both sides. I'm left with E equals 60. So 60 degrees. So E is 60 degrees. And now I really am ready to start looking and finding out which ones are possible. So the first one I'll check out is angle B. Well, that's 125. Remember, complementary angles make 90, so B is out. Okay, so that's gone. There's no way B is involved. If I look at 80, well, 80 is very close to 90, so I'm just looking for 10. And there are no 10s, so for sure D is out. Okay, let's have a look here. I've got 25, 30, 40, 60. Now 25 can't be involved because it's got a 5 on the end of it. None of the other degrees left have a 5 on the end of it, so it can't, if I add 25 to 30 or 40 or 60, it's going to end in a 5, and I need it to end in a 0. So this is out for sure. So I'm left really with 30, 40, 60. I'm looking for 90, and you might be able to see very quickly that 30 and 60 equals 90. Therefore, the answer is my complementary angles are angles A and E, because they equal 90 degrees. And this would be my final answer right here. And that's how you do these kinds of questions.